With us now, Doug Flynn, certified financial planner and co-founder of Flynn Zito Capital Management. It's good to see you, Doug. Thanks for coming on. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Brian.
What do you make as we go into 2024? What should we be thinking? I mean, a lot of us were nervous about the economy. Everyone was telling us there was going to be a recession. That hasn't happened. What comes next, do you think?
Well, I think this has a little to do with just some profit taking after a really good year last year, and then 9 weeks at the end of the year of in a row positive gains. So a little bit of that year end, top of the year kind of adjusting, but it doesn't really get us off track from how things are looking. There is a possibility that you do have a mild recession at some point this year. That's a scary word, but it isn't something that we should be too worried about, especially if it's not a deep one. Those are kind of natural things. And then you get back to how are these companies doing? Are they selling a lot of stuff to a lot of people? Do they have good earnings? And that's what's going to drive the market, I think, higher next year.
Speaking of companies selling a lot of stuff to a lot of people, Apple, a lot of my buddies got the new iPhone for Christmas. So I was surprised to look at the headline. They're at a 7-week low. So like what? Yeah, there you go. Apple hit 7-week low. What's going on here? How do you explain it?
Yeah, that has a lot to do with it. It was one company, Barclays, who came out and said, we're going to make this an underperform rating on the stock. They think there's about 17% drop in value that could happen to Apple. And it went down about 4% today towards that. It has a lot to do with the fact that they think the sales of the new phone, the 15, have been underwhelming, is the quote. And really forecasting that the new one that's coming out now this year, which would be the 16, is going to follow suit. And they're not selling as much. A lot of it has to do with the fact that all they're really doing is maybe giving you a little bit of a better camera.
Yeah.
There's nothing really earth-shattering in each of these. So people are less inclined to spend all that money to get the new phone every time. And so, that's waning. And there are other services that they do besides hardware, like phones, services part. Barclays thinks is going to be a little weaker. So they put a sort of underperform rating on it. And that drove the Apple down. And since it's the biggest stock in the United States, kind of drove the market a little bit today, too.
Makes sense. And you're right. I mean, I always make that calculation in my head, like, do I get the new one now? Do I wait a couple generations? Because you don't want to get the new one if you can't really, see something different, see something new and cool. Speaking of stocks, Bitcoin, this is also interesting. We haven't really heard much about them lately, at least I haven't. But they just topped 45,000 for the first time since 2022. So what's going on there? How do you explain that?
Yeah, well, a couple things. One, there's a lot of excitement around an exchange-traded fund of Bitcoin that would allow people to invest in Bitcoin and participate in the share price rising, theoretically, or possibly going down, without actually having to own the Bitcoin and store it and worry about forgetting their password. And so much like you can buy the actual gold bullion and store it, or you can buy an ETF of the gold and track the price, this would be like that. The SEC hasn't approved it, but they're thinking that's going to happen this month, and so people are excited. That drove the price up because people are thinking that once it's easier to buy and advisors can put you into it, you can buy it right on your phone without having to store it. That's going to drive the price higher. Now, whether or not that's true, we'll see, because it isn't necessarily an investment in the truest investment sense of the word. It doesn't sell anything.
Yeah.
So it's a trade, and it's only worth what somebody else is willing to give you for it.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I'm still convinced like no one fully understands it.
You're probably right.
Yeah, right. Let me ask you about your financial tips for 2024, because again, people are, you've got resolutions now. You want to do better with your spending. I mean, what are your top tips for people?
Yeah, if you look at the top 3 financial sort of goals that people have every year, the first one always comes into saving more. That's the top one that people want to do. And what you have to do with your goals, and the reason is that 80% of people fail by February on their New Year's resolutions, by February. And only about 8% of them make it all the way through. So how do you actually succeed in New Year's resolution? So it has to be something small, actionable, measurable that you can do. And so let's talk about save more. That one, a lot of people aren't saving anything. So if you just save something, I know it sounds ridiculous. People say, I'm going to save $500 a month. I'm like, how about you start with $25 a month or $50 a month? Just start with something. That's better than nothing. It's actionable. You can do it. And like your 401k, if you're at 0%, go to 1. If you're at 6%, which most people are, bump it to 7. Those are small things that you can do. You're not really going to feel them, and they have a really big impact on you. That's the save more one.
Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah, I think about that with working out too. You know, it's like, oh, I don't have time for a full hour. Okay, I'll just do 20 minutes. Better than nothing. Same with saving money. It seems like a good way to think. Doug Flynn. Sorry, what were you going to say? Didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was just there's paying down debt's another one, and spending less are the other things that people want to do, and those are things that you have to do it in small, measurable ways, like you said, versus trying for the big one and then failing. That's why most people don't succeed.
Yeah, it makes sense. Once you get in the routine, you'll succeed. Doug Flynn, thank you so much for coming on. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.